This is my recap of Ink Master, Season 4, Episode 4, Nude and Tattooed. It's having a lazy afternoon, and I hope your day's going well. Also, I'm going to start by talking about a TMZ article that I saw that said that a production assistant on the 2013 set, which I think would be this season that's airing currently, is suing Oliver Peck for sexual harassment on the job. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. There's really no way to tell just based on the fact that she's suing him. It could totally be true. It could not be. She could be looking for an easy payout. I have no idea. I'm not even going to guess. What I will say, though, is I read some of the comments, which was a mistake, and there was some interesting kind of like logic behind what some people were saying, which is like, oh, it's a tattoo shop, and she should toughen up, and this isn't a church camp and stuff. Which I just kind of thought was like odd because first off, the laws for workplace behavior aren't based on where they are. Like, oh, you have to, you can't make sexually provocative remarks. Well, unless, you work in a biker bar or a tattoo shop. And the secondly is this wasn't on a tattoo shop. This was on a TV set. So they were filming. So it actually had, most of the people that work on these kind of sets, if it's a show about tattooing, they're not necessarily all tattooers. They're camera people. People that work on these sets are passionate about their particular thing. So when I was on set for my TV show, I'm an archer, and my business partner's an archer. And a few of our set designers were archers, but the rest of them, they'd never seen archery, and truthfully, they don't care. They're there to set up shots a certain way and make sure that it looks nice and handle the equipment or the data or the sound, and they're all geeky about that kind of stuff, and they don't really care what they're filming to a certain degree. They're there to do their job. So I kind of thought it was funny that there was this attitude that like, oh, well, she should toughen up. Well, I don't know. I've only been on one set, and everyone was super professional and dealt with their particular job, so it's kind of hard for me to imagine that it would be different. And what they're accused of is like rubbing up on her and touching her inappropriately when she was driving them around and making inappropriate comments and stuff. So we'll have to see kind of how that goes. Anyway, let's get to the episode, which the theme was placement, how the tattoo is placed in the body to accentuate it. And so the canvases all come out, and to make sure we know how the tattoos are placed, they are all nude. Two things I want to point out about that particular aspect of the challenge. One, I don't get why they had to stay nude through the whole thing. So I get seeing them nude at the beginning, and I get judging the tattoo at the end. But I didn't see why, once they picked the area, why they had to stay nude the whole time. So that was kind of gimmicky. But an even bigger issue is why were the tattoo artists so freaked out? I mean, they really were like, doing the like, oh my goodness, and clutching their pearls and just really kind of going over the top with like, oh, people are nude. And I got a few of the comments where like they were trying to place the tattoo, they kept bumping up against someone's privates, and I can understand that. I mean, that's totally realistic, but I have a number of friends that are professional artists, and they sketch nudes all the time. And they work with people that are nude if they do costuming or makeup or something, and it's just kind of part of their job. So one of my friends works at Blizzard, and she says it's pretty standard that they bring in nude models, and their art department will come in and they'll sketch, and they have big containers of clay where they'll do modeling and stuff. And all my friends that take art classes have done like nude modeling, drawing, and all that. So the degree to which people were freaking out about nudity just kind of struck me as unusual. I would think that tattoo artists would be a little bit more like, whatever, it's a nude body, whatever. So that kind of surprised me, because like Keith was like, I'm not going to be looking at no penis, and like I got to cover it up, and it was just a little bizarre to me. Maybe I don't know. Now the main, by the way, let's see, Scott wins. He does the tree that's kind of got like a tree of life with some stairs that go up to it. It's perfectly centered. And someone else was like, oh, that's a cop-out. Trees are easy. Then I guess you should have done a tree. And so the main challenge is aquatic tattoos. And I think the hardest part about aquatic tattoos is that, if you put any blue background, how does it end? it's not going to just fade, you know. How are you going to terminate the edges if you don't do a blue background of some kind? Or, you know, how is it going to look? And that was a problem we saw for a lot of people, was dealing with this background. And in fact, I think the winner won because of the way that they dealt with the background. Now, Scott got to hand out the canvases, and he's like, I'm going to give the hard ones to the really good artist. And people were like, oh, what a jerk, and I can't believe he did that. But all of those skins had to get tattooed, and somebody had to tattoo them. So I don't get why people are pitching this huge fit about getting a hard canvas. You know, I mean, I just don't, I feel like it's, for the amount that people sit around talking about how awesome they are and how good everyone else needs to be, or I'm going to take you down, they sure complain a lot. And I feel like you got to pick one or the other. If you want to complain about how difficult it is, that's fine. Well, I mean, kind of fine. If you want to talk about how awesome you are, that's fine. But don't talk about how awesome you are and then complain about the challenges. Like, that's just, you're undermining your own credibility. Sausage, though, who has done consistently well, also seemed to have the best attitude, which is like, I'm just going to take the tattoo that's given it to me, and I'm going to do an awesome job. And he did. And our tops ended up being Scott, Maddie, and Sausage. And Scott ended up, let's see, winning again. So there you go. Now we get to do the, you know, assigning to the bottom. And the human canvases picked Roland, who's been on the bottom several times. And then Scott was able to nominate Randy. And then Bubba also ended up on the bottom. And Randy kind of pitched a fit about, you know, he starts explaining how, you know, yeah, maybe it was a bad tattoo, but he's gay, and he started when he was 30, and it's a lot harder for him, and they really shut him down on that. And I get it. I mean, I can say objectively that the fact that he started later, we have to take that into account when we say how good he is, but this is not a competition to say who is the best based on how long they've been tattooing. This is who is the best. Period. Just end of sentence. So you don't get, there's no handicapping system where you say, oh, well, he's only been tattooing for 3 years, so we're going to give him some extra points, and she's a female, and so she has it harder, so she gets extra points, and all that. It's pretty much just a straight, like, which is the best tattoo. And Randy really pitched a fit about it, and, you know, so I'm not really that sorry to see him go. I really want to see, you know, the best tattoo, period. So anyway, I will see you guys next week.